Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and realizing that everything you've been doing up until now has only been practice for the life you actually want. Not a dress rehearsal, not a someday fantasy, but the moment when the choices you make today begin to shape the future you have always pictured. That's the power Jim Rohn spoke about when he talked about mastering the art of daily excellence. He wasn't speaking to billionaires on a yacht or to a room full of elite athletes. He was speaking to everyday people like you and me, people who work jobs, raise families, pay bills and sometimes feel stuck in a cycle of wake, work, sleep and repeat. He wanted us to know that excellence isn't a single act or a flash of brilliance. It's a daily practice. It's in the small habits, the invisible choices, the things we do when no one is watching that slowly carve out the future we dream about. When Jim Rohn was a young man, he was broke and frustrated. He said that by the time he was 25 years old he had pennies in his pocket and excuses in his mouth. Maybe you've been there. I remember a friend of mine who finished school and landed his first job. He thought life would finally feel successful. Instead, he was living paycheck to paycheck and his goals felt far away. He told me one day, "I'm doing everything right, but I'm not getting ahead." That's exactly where Jim Rohn had been. And then someone told him, "If you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to get better, you have to get better." That one sentence transformed his life. It's the heart of daily excellence. It's not about waiting for the right time or blaming the economy or hoping for luck. It's about changing who you are so that your results can change. Daily excellence begins with self-discipline. Jim Rohn often said discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Think of a student preparing for exams. Every day she chooses between scrolling on her phone for hours or reading one more chapter. The difference might seem small today, but in 3 months it's the difference between passing and failing. I remember when I was in my first year of college juggling part-time work and classes. I used to think discipline was about punishment or denying myself fun. But discipline is actually about freedom. It's the freedom to build a life on your terms. Each small disciplined action is like a brick. On its own it doesn't look like much, but over time you're building a house. Jim Rohn went from making pennies to becoming a multimillionaire speaker because he learned to lay those bricks daily. Another part of daily excellence is setting clear standards for yourself. Most people drift through life with vague hopes. They say things like "I want to be healthier" or "I want to make more money," but they don't define what that actually means. Jim Rohn said, "Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better." He meant set a standard and rise to meet it. I had a friend who decided to run a marathon even though he had never been a runner. He didn't start with 26 miles. He started by running for 5 minutes every morning. He set a standard that no matter how tired or busy he was, he would put on his shoes and go. 6 months later he crossed the finish line. Not because of one heroic act, but because of hundreds of small consistent acts. Daily excellence isn't glamorous, but it's powerful. Jim Rohn also emphasized the importance of personal development. He famously spent more on books and seminars than on entertainment. In 1963, when most people were spending money on new televisions, he was buying personal growth materials. He said formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. I experienced this myself when I started reading one book a month on topics like communication, finances and health. At first it didn't seem like much, but over a year that was 12 books. Over 5 years that's 60 books. Imagine the compound effect of that knowledge on your mindset and opportunities. Daily excellence means feeding your mind every day just as you feed your body. It's not about overnight transformation, but steady growth. Let's talk about relationships. Excellence isn't just about what you do for yourself. It's also about the people you surround yourself with. Jim Rohn said you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Look at your own life. Who are your 5? Do they inspire you or drain you? Do they challenge you to grow or keep you comfortable? Years ago I realized my inner circle was full of complainers. We would meet after work and talk about how unfair everything was. It felt good to vent, but it kept me stuck. Slowly I started spending more time with people who had goals and were working on themselves. My conversations changed, my thinking changed, and my actions changed. Daily excellence sometimes means making hard choices about who you allow into your life. Another key Jim Rohn lesson is measuring your progress. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. Too many of us live reactively, hoping things get better but never tracking the reality. A woman I know wanted to get out of debt. She had been saying for years she was working on it, but her balances stayed the same. One day she started writing down every single expense. At first it was painful to see where her money was going, but within 3 months she had cut hundreds of dollars of waste and started paying off her cards. In 3 years she was debt-free. All because of a simple daily habit of measuring. Excellence is in the numbers, in the journal entries, in the quiet accountability you keep with yourself. Health is another area where daily excellence shows up. Jim Rohn used to say, take care of your body, it's the only place you have to live. We all know someone who works hard for decades but neglects their health until a wake-up call hits. I had a co-worker who always said he was too busy to exercise. Then at 50 years old he had a minor heart attack. It scared him, but it also woke him up. He started walking for 20 minutes a day, then 30, then joined a gym. Over 2 years he lost weight, lowered his blood pressure and had more energy than he did in his 30s. The change wasn't a miracle. It was daily excellence applied to his health. Let's not forget attitude. Every day we face setbacks, frustrations, disappointments. Excellence isn't about never feeling down. It's about choosing your attitude despite circumstances. Jim Rohn said, we can't control the wind, but we can adjust the sails. A friend of mine was passed over for a promotion he had worked hard for. He could have sulked and done the bare minimum. Instead, he decided to treat every day as an opportunity to improve his skills. Within a year, another company noticed his work ethic and offered him a better position with higher pay. The difference was attitude, a daily choice to respond rather than react. One of the most overlooked aspects of daily excellence is time. We all get the same 24 hours, yet some people achieve extraordinary things while others feel constantly behind. Jim Rohn taught that time management is really life management. Think of how you spend your mornings. Do you start the day with purpose or in chaos? Years ago I started waking up 1 hour earlier to plan my day, exercise and read. That one change transformed my productivity. In a year I accomplished more than I had in the previous 3. Daily excellence lives in how you spend your hours, not just your years. Generosity is also part of excellence. Jim Rohn believed in giving back, not just when you are rich but as a way of life. He said, only by giving can you open the door to receiving. I once volunteered at a local shelter on weekends. At first I thought I was just helping others, but over time I realized it helped me. It gave me perspective, gratitude and a sense of purpose. Daily excellence isn't only about personal gain but about contributing to something bigger than yourself. All of these pieces, discipline, standards, personal growth, relationships, measurement, health, attitude, time, generosity, come together to form a life of daily excellence. And it's important to remember you don't have to overhaul everything at once. Start with one habit, one area. As Jim Rohn said, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day. The good news is you get to choose. You get to decide which side of that equation you live on. Imagine where you could be in 1 year if you practice daily excellence. Imagine your finances, your health, your relationships, your skills. Think of Jim Rohn at 25 years old, broke and frustrated, and then think of him at 45 years old speaking to audiences around the world, earning millions of dollars and influencing generations. That transformation wasn't magic. It was the art of daily excellence. You have the same 24 hours, the same opportunity to improve yourself, the same chance to build the habits that will shape your destiny. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, remember this moment. Remember that the life you want isn't waiting for you someday. It's built today, in the choices you make when no one is watching, in the quiet disciplines and small actions that compound over time. Mastering the art of daily excellence is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about doing your best today, and then doing it again tomorrow. And one day you will look back and realize you're living the life you once only dreamed of because you chose daily excellence over daily excuses.